What's in a name? Everything. The power of a name has long been immortalized in prose, poetry, and history. It is your face to the world, your ambassador of quality that reflects your ideals and aspirations. Thompson's, a name, a family, a tradition of excellence. So it is when the Thompson family filled the void of other local dealerships that closed their doors in recent years by opening the Thompson Service Center. They selectively hired the best of the best factory-trained and certified technicians for all Ford Power Stroke and Dodge Cummins diesels, Ford, Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge cars, trucks, and import cars. So now you can stay local and get the best service possible for your brand of vehicle at the Thompson Service Center, 126 Forney Road in Placerville.
Since you wrapped me in this sensation. Oh yeah, I've been singing, I've been beaming, I've been living, I've been dreaming. Since you wrapped me in this sensation.
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new edition of California Bountiful. I'm your host, Tracy Sellers, and we have got a fantastic show for you today. It is filled with a ton of great food, and it all starts with our first story. It's a restaurant down in Los Angeles that has done the unthinkable. They're making comfort food both healthy and tasty. So, you know when life gives you lemons, some people like to make lemonade. I personally like to go to lemonade. So let's go check it out. Come on. Let's go. In a town known for glitz and glamour, it's kind of ironic then that Los Angeles-based chef Alan Jackson has found success with his back-to-basics approach to food. A longtime caterer to the stars, Alan knew how to serve a variety of food to huge amounts of people, so why not try to translate that into a restaurant? Welcome to Lemonade.
Lemonade is a modern cafeteria. We serve Southern California comfort food. Lemonade is completely symbolic to the company. It really talks about how I like to cook. I love salty and sweet and bright and California and vegetable focused and also playful. I like to play with food.
But before they can be devoured here, they have to be developed here at the Lemonade Central Kitchen in downtown Los Angeles. Here, Alan and his crew are slicing, dicing, and stirring their own versions of old classics and incorporating a staggering amount of California produce along the way.
This is broccoli. I would say this is close to 300 pounds of broccoli, and we go through about 300 pounds of broccoli, close to 500 pounds of Brussels sprouts every day. So we're roasting the broccoli here. And what's great about this is instead of blanching it like your mom used to do and giving you soggy broccoli, we're actually blasting the florets with high heat and gives it a nice kind of caramelization and color. So we're getting ready to roast our blue leg green beans, and that's going with our pineapple chicken. So this is our lemonade. It's our secret recipe. We got to keep this a secret, but we take fresh fruit. In this case, it's cucumbers and fresh mint. We puree it with lemon juice and white cane sugar, and then we pass it through a chinois, and that's our base for making our cucumber lemonade.
Are you ready?
Today's dessert, Pop-Tarts. It needs a little glaze on it, but these are fresh California peaches that we put in here, little honey and brown sugar. This is Jonesable.
After the food is prepared here, it is then transported to the various lemonade locations in Southern California, where the chefs there add the finishing touches to the meals. By putting a global spin on comfort food, Alan and his team are hoping to reinvent how we think California fruits and veggies can be enjoyed. And in a town that has a rep for making lunch an art form, people seem to be eating up the idea.
There's so many options. When you walk in, it's a little overwhelming.
Well, it's my first time here, and I really like all the food. There's a lot of selection.
Green apple curry chicken, We got our chicken bass with artichokes and olives. This is our vegetarian chili.
They went through all the different choices that you can have, and the lemonade is great.
And who said playing with your food was a bad thing? Certainly no one here. In fact, it's strongly encouraged at Lemonade, where they're keeping things fresh by changing the menu every day and completely overhauling it twice a season. On any given day, there are at least 20 different salad choices, a dozen sandwich choices, plus soups, sides, desserts, and oh yeah, they've got lemonade, of course. 7 choices there, from blueberry mint to pineapple coriander. And just like any cafeteria, you pick up a tray and let your taste buds do the talking. Let's just put it this way, if you're not good at making choices, you may be in line for a while.
Today's salad is pink grapefruit with goat cheese, breakfast radish, and buttermilk lettuce, pineapple chicken, jerk dressing, and coconut. This is one of our house specialties, watermelon radish, seared ahi tuna, and snap peas.
That's the point. If we get the baby hooked, that means you guys have to come back all the time.
The only limit to your meal at a restaurant like this is your own imagination. And because of their appreciation for using the freshest seasonal ingredients knows no bounds, this chef thinks he has found success catering to a whole new batch of fans.
I think people are responding to it. They feel the sort of genuineness of what we're doing, that we're really trying to deliver them a product that tastes good, that feels good, at the right price. It's been really fun. I'm getting you to eat your vegetables. It's a trick.
And stay with us, because coming up next, we're showing you a crop that has really found its place in the sun. You'll see what I mean coming up next.
Closed captioning of California Bountiful is provided by Agriculture Liquid Fertilizers. Producing better crops with better fertilizers, it's better for California.
My name is Patrick Mulvaney, and my wife Bobbin and I own Mulvaney's Building and Loan. It's a restaurant, banquet hall, and a catering facility here in Sacramento, California. Focus on local, seasonal food, so our menu changes every day, and it all depends on what the farmer brings in the front door. Every day brings a new excitement here because of the farmers that are around here. Everybody brings it in here to our restaurant so that we can put it on a fork, and our guests get to enjoy it.
Here's an easy trivia question for you. What do you get when you take grapes and a whole lot of sunshine? Well, you get raisins, of course. And with their convenience and versatility, it's easy to see why some say that raisins are the perfect 21st century snack. And while they may have a point, raisins are also one of the oldest foods around too, first mentioned in biblical times. Many think they were discovered by accident when grapes were left to dry on a vine. And centuries later, surprisingly, not much has changed in how raisins are produced. Take some grapes, add some sunshine, and presto, you got raisins. Ah, but if it were only that easy. In fact, making raisins is no simple task. At farms like Steve Spate's near Selma in the Central Valley, harvesting raisins is a well-orchestrated dance.
The crew comes through and cuts the grapes off the vine, puts them into a pan with about 18 to 20 pounds of grapes on a good tray. And they put those onto a thin sheet of paper, laying down like you see down the middle of the row. And in approximately 10 days under good weather conditions, 10 to 14, we'll come back and roll those trays into either a biscuit roll or what we call a flop roll.
If it sounds like a lot of work, it is. And Steve is just one of the nearly 3,500 raisin growers in the San Joaquin Valley that produce all of the United States raisins and almost half of the world's crop as well. Steve is a fourth-generation raisin farmer, so he's seen quite a few harvests in his time and loves to talk about raisins. But just don't mention another R word around him during harvest season when his entire crop is just laying out in the open. You know that R word that is weather-related? Rain.
No, we don't like to talk about the R word right now.
About it.
Don't joke about it. No. Don't talk about the clouds that might roll in over the hills. That's the thing. We live in a bowl, valley bowl here, that a wind current changes and all of a sudden we have a rain threat that comes in.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Makes life interesting.
Yeah, that's what you want to call it.
I was trying to be positive. While harvest time is their most intensive and yes, interesting time of year, Steve and his son look after their 200 acres of vineyards all year round, ensuring the vines will produce a hearty and healthy crop when it comes time. They're constantly measuring the sweetness level of the fruit because grapes don't ripen after harvest. What you see is what you get with this crop.
It's the most natural product. I mean, we don't put anything on these grapes except dry them in the sun. We pull them off when they're at the optimum sugar. We dry them in these rows, and they're just quality. It's quality sugar. It's just the sweetness.
Although making raisins the old-fashioned way, like Steve does, is a tried and true method, it is also very labor-intensive. So some farmers have gone another route by actually letting the grapes dry on the vine and then harvesting the raisins by machine, which I got a front row seat to.
What you see here, these are called bow rods, and when he starts, they will beat the grapes off. They fall into these plates that fall into these buckets. The buckets will be turning. The buckets dump the grapes onto a belt. The belt then transfers it over into this hopper. And that hopper carries the large paper, the continuous tray we call it, and then you'll get about 2 to 3 berries thick as a layer when they take off.
No matter how the raisins are harvested, inevitably they end up at places like this, the nearby Carruthers Brothers processing facility, where workers carefully inspect the raisins throughout the entire process. In fact, they even have USDA inspectors on site every day to ensure the raisins meet industry standards.
They monitor the fruit quality all the way through. In today's market, you know, everybody is so concerned about fruit safety, and so that's very comforting to our customers.
After inspection, the stems are removed and then the raisins are cleaned using large vacuums, graters, and shakers to remove any foreign matter. Then they are washed using fresh water, which ultimately rehydrates them and plumps them up before they're packaged and shipped to a grocery store near us. And while it is a long and circuitous route from tray to table for raisins, it's all worth it in the end for those involved with them. And they're hoping people's love for raisins won't shrivel up anytime soon.
They're happy every time you mention raisins, you know, there's a smile on their face. And so it makes it easy to sell.
Hi, I'm John Toolsey of the Growing the Fig. We're going to start off by making our brioche bread pudding with some apples and golden raisins. First, what we're going to do is we're going to start with getting our apples peeled. 3 apples are ideal. In this case, I'm just using a real simple Granny Smith apple. And we're peeling them down, and we're going to dice them. Save your cores. I always like to save the cores. There's a lot of good apple meat on there for other pieces in the future, or to make an apple caramel or a sorbet. We're just going to go ahead and dice up these apples here. We've got our apples cut up and in the bowl. Now we're going to move on to the rest of the ingredients. We're going to start with our eggs. We have 6 eggs. We're just going to go ahead and crack those in the bowl. I like to always have my eggs at room temperature, especially if I'm separating eggs, but just in general, I find they whisk much easier. These are beautiful large eggs. And again, I always assume it's a large egg when you're reading recipes. And we're going to go ahead and add some brown sugar to these eggs. And we're going to whisk this up just till it starts to come together. At this point, we're going to add a little bit of our cinnamon, vanilla, and just a little bit of our cream milk mixture. And we're just going to whisk this together. And go ahead and add those apples. And again, you can just see how easy this recipe is. And last but not least, our golden raisins. Right there. And there we go. That is our mixture. To this, we're going to add our brioche. So we've got some brioche here. This is brioche that we've actually let get stale on purpose. It's about 2 days old. What we're going to do, we're just going to go ahead and add that in right into the mixture. And we're going to gently stir it. We don't want to stir it too much, because if we do, we'll actually break down the bread. And that's not really what we're going for. So just go ahead and fold over that custard mixture until it's well incorporated. And then I believe the secret of a good bread pudding is really just making sure that you let the bread soak, but you don't let it soak so much that the bread loses its texture. In this case, we're going to let it sit for about 15-20 minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and put it in our pan and bake it. So as you can see, we've let this bread pudding sit, and that liquid that was at the bottom has been absorbed into the bread, but you'll notice the bread still holds its shape, and that's really what you want. You want it to have that nice custardy feel. Now, it hasn't broken down, but you want it to absorb all that extra liquid. And that again takes about 10-15 minutes. Just let it sit. At this point, we're going to just go ahead and put it into a baking dish. And you don't have to spray this. If you wanted to have it come out perfectly and then cut it into squares, you could. But I think the rusticity of this dish is just it being scooped out and served directly at the table and shared amongst friends. We've got that in. And we're going to take this, get that guy, we're going to go ahead and walk it into a 350-degree oven and get it to go for about 45 to 55 minutes. What you're looking for is we're going to want to put a pick in it or a fork, and it comes out clean, just as if you were baking any custard. So that's basically the start on this, and we should be enjoying this in an hour. So the bread pudding has come out of the oven. You can see it's beautifully, it's roasted up, still nice and hot. We're going ahead and serve it. My favorite time is to serve it when it's nice and hot. And I'm just going to take a beautiful spoonful right here. And the way I like to serve it is just rustic, just like this. But I like it just like that, and just a little drizzle of caramel over the top. And then take it right to the table.
Thanks, John. And as always, that recipe can be found at our website, CaliforniaBountiful.com. And stay with us because there's more California Bountiful coming right up.
Hi, my name is John Ledbetter. I work at Boca Nova Restaurant in Jack London Square, Oakland, California. I love cooking with simple ingredients, seasonal ingredients. I like using the right things at the right times, and I like to do 10 ingredients or less, preferably always. What we do in this business is we highlight food. And you can't highlight food unless you're using the best of what you can get. And if you can't do that, you should either try to do it or you should go do something else.
In the nation, we worry about fire-breathing monsters, and we worry about spinach. At Nationwide Insurance, we take care of the big things like protecting you, so you only have to worry about the little stuff. We put members first, because we don't have shareholders. Join the nation that doesn't sweat it.
Nationwide is on your side.
To learn more about the nation where Farm Bureau members can save on their auto insurance, call 877-ON-YOUR-SIDE or visit www.nationwide.com today.
Welcome back to California Bountiful. You know, nothing inspires chefs more than getting really great produce to work with. So we thought we'd take a look at how that farm to fork connection continues to grow here in Northern California.
People know
what are the new trends. People know what is a few years old and like, oh, like I've seen this before, but what else do you have? And so you have to be on top of your game a little bit and offer something that's pretty special. I think it's gotten to the point where it's assumed, at least in San Francisco, that you're working with farms. Before, everyone used to like plaster the names of farms everywhere, and I think that trend has kind of passed a little bit. Now, people can tell by the ingredients that you're using whether you're farmers market based or not. You know, I think whether you're seeing summer beans in the winter, people are like, I don't know if this is really like a seasonal restaurant.
We use as much local farmers as possible. In Northern California, obviously, we have an abundance of local farms. I think the relationship is important because it's really good to get products from as local as possible to keep the line of transportation as short as possible to be extra green.
What we're giving them is what they want. I love seeing the look on their faces when they open the box to inspect it and they're just like, wow, this is gorgeous. And I'd let them know it was harvested this morning and they're like blown away. Right here is a rounded arugula. The middle, we have a purple Mizuna. And on the far end over here is our Ruby Streak mustard. It's our bread and butter, and the chefs in town, plus the personal chefs at home for the markets, absolutely love it. They can't get enough of it.
It's almost like a dance partner where like I let them take the lead and then figure out what to do based on that.
I mean, we have so many wonderful, amazing farmers at our fingertips, unlike a lot of other cities in America where, you know, they gotta really search and really find that one guy that does this really well. We have like 5 or 6 guys that do that really well.
My name's Nigel Walker from Eat Well Farm, and we're in Dixon, California. So Sacramento's about 20 miles that way, San Francisco's 70 miles that way. 30 years ago, I did a vocational degree in commercial horticulture. And at college, my tutor would sort of take me to one side and say, Nigel, you know, you're going off the rails, organic farming, it's a hippie thing, it's terrible, you know, what are you wasting your time? And I said, well, look, anybody coming into the industry, this was in the early 80s, I mean, you look and you see the customers are really demanding organic produce. And you know, in starting my career, it just made absolute sense to me. I've been farming here on this piece of ground since 1997 and farming in California for 20 years. We're a very different kind of farm. We grow many different kinds of crops. We are harvesting and planting all year round. We sell directly to our customers. People become members of the farm and they get a weekly box of seasonal produce. So we have about 1,300 members of the farm, and it's on an online database, and they sign up and they get a weekly or a bi-weekly box of vegetables. So that is what is in season, fruits and vegetables. We have fruit trees here, we have strawberries, melons, all that kind of stuff. So we pick each week what is the best in season and put it in a box. And there's a newsletter that goes in with each box telling people what's going on the farm, recipes as well, and also inviting them to farm events. So we do a whole series of farm events right through the season. So it's a wonderful way for people to connect to the farm.
As a chef in California, one of my most favorite things to do actually is to go out to the Imperial Valley, the Central Valley, and get into the middle of California agriculture. Because only then do you really understand and you really get influenced and inspired by how much food is grown there. And you also understand the trials and the tribulations of what the farmers go through. If you just go to the farmers market every week, it's a great experience, but you're really not getting the essence of what farming is about. And I think it's something that I like to go and do because it raises my appreciation and awareness every time I do it. And I think that's something that the chefs and the farmers need to band together so we can really raise that awareness.
Hi, my name's Jonathan Rollo and I'm the Commander-in-Chief of Greenleaf Gourmet Chop Shop. We're here in our Century City location today so I can show you one of my favorite salads, which is the Zora the Great. It's our version of a Greek salad, so let me show you what we put in it. We've got a mix of arugula and romaine lettuce, all from right here in Southern California. To this, we're gonna add some of our marinated baby artichokes. We've got some spices in there with a little bit of red pepper to give it a little kick. We're gonna add some roasted baby tomatoes. We're gonna add some fresh cucumber. We're gonna add some Kalamata olives and feta cheese. We're also gonna add a little bit of sliced red onion and our Zora herb mix, which is a Mediterranean herb mix, including oregano and some of my favorites. And then we're gonna toss this all in a little bit of garlic herb vinaigrette. Plate it up. And to the top of this, we're gonna add some of our baked pita chips, which will add a nice little crunch. These are with a little bit of sea salt and herbs, and there you go, our Zora the Great salad.
My name is Patrick Mulvaney, and my wife Bobbin and I own Mulvaney's Building and Loan. It's a restaurant, banquet hall, and a catering facility here in Sacramento, California. Focus on local, seasonal food. So our menu changes every day, and it all depends on what the farmer brings in the front door. Every day brings a new excitement here because of the farmers that are around here. Everybody brings it in here to our restaurant so that we can put it on a fork, and our guests get to enjoy it.
In the nation, our agents are always there, helping make sure that when your life changes, your nationwide insurance coverage changes too. We put members first because we don't have shareholders. Join the nation where protection is personal.
Nationwide is on your side.
To learn more about the nation where Farm Bureau members can save on their auto insurance, call 877 on your side or visit www.nationwide.com today.
Well, we are all out of time for today's show, but if you'd like any of the information on the stories you've seen today or the recipes, you can check them all out at our website at californiabountiful.com. And if you get a second, go to our Facebook site, give us a like, let us know what you like about the show, what you'd like to see on the show, and we love hearing from our viewers, so let us know. And we really appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you again next week on California Bountiful.
To